In this video, we are moving on to inheritance. So we want to see how we can inherit the properties, methods from one class to another class. First of all, we need to understand what is inheritance. Inheritance simply refers to extending the functionalities of a class to another class. Okay, so the second class is referred to as the subclass, while the main class is referred to as the superclass. In PHP, we make use of the extends keyword when we want to extend the functionalities of a class, and the format looks just like this. You simply say the keyword class, and this would be followed by the subclass name. Once you have done that, you then type the keyword extends, and then this will be followed by the name of the superclass. Very easy. And for us to actually see this in action, we will be going back to a code that we wrote earlier. We created a class arithmetic. Within the class, we specified a constant pi, and then we also wrote a method to check for the area of a circle. I guess you guys still remember this one. Now we want to create another class that will extend the functionality of this class, and this is fairly simple. We simply say class and then the name of this new class, which is currently gonna be the subclass, and I want to name this one math. Okay, now don't forget the extends keyword. It is a keyword, and then this will be followed by the name of the superclass you want to be extending from, and in this case is going to be arithmetic. Fair enough. Now this is just how you do this. Once you have done, this will be followed by your curly brackets, and in between you are going to specify the actions that you want this class to carry out. Fairly simple, eh? Very simple. So what do I want this math class to do? I will just go here and copy all of this function here. This is what I just want this math class to do for us. So to save some time, and since I'm a very lazy programmer, I'll just take care of it like this. So the add method, for example, would simply return the addition of a and b. So this is taken care of. Return a and a plus b. Then the sub method is going to return the subtraction of a and b, and then the mul method is going to return the multiplication of a and b. Fair enough. And then the div method is going to return the division of a and b. I guess our class looks good. Remember, this math is the subclass and this arithmetic is the superclass. Now, notice how I'm going to use math class to actually find or give us the area of a circle. Now watch. All we need to do is simply call the class math. Okay, this will be followed by the double colon and then the name of the method, circle area. Now after this is being said and done, what is followed is the parenthesis, and then within the parenthesis I'll specify my radius, and in this case my radius will still remain 5. I guess the other time we got 78.55. And let us not forget that we are going to echo this because we said to return the value, not to echo. So we'll save this and then refresh this, and we get a pass error because I made use of a colon instead of a semicolon. Fair enough. I'll just save this and refresh this, and we got our 78.55. Isn't this interesting? Circle area method was never declared within the math class, but then we're able to access it. Why? Because math has inherited it from arithmetic. Isn't this a very interesting concept in PHP? This will assist you, aid you not to write too much code. If you have already created a class with a certain functionality and you are creating another class that needs that same functionality within the class you've already created before, all you simply need to do is inherit, extend, finish, and that is all. So notice that within this class, all we have is a constant and a static method. I would like to change this static to protected, for example. So if we save this and we refresh this, you notice we get a fatal error. Remember when we were explaining the scope for methods and property, and we said when a method or property is protected, it means that acts outside code and extending class. So in this case, this is an extending class, do not have access to that method or property. So that is why we are getting a fatal error here. So in case you have a method or a property within your superclass that you don't want the extending class to have access to, simply declare it as protected. So I'm going to change this back to static. Thank you. I hope this idea of inheriting is coming as easy and simple as it is to us. So math has access to its own methods, and it also has access to its superclass methods and other values. Something else we also want to consider about inheritance is this. After creating the classes, you realize that within them there are methods that use the same name. For example, take a look at this method and this method. They are making use of the same name, but what they are doing is entirely different. And you notice that this class is a subclass of this one. So the question now is, which one would preside over the other? Let's find out. Now let us say we create an object, use class, and then we set it to the test class 2. So we have created an instance of test class 2, and now we actually want to check which one will take precedence over the other. So we are going to say use class now, use class, and then point it to the method say hi. Fair enough. That being said and done, we're going to save this, and I'm going to give you guys a moment to think about it. Which one do you think would win, this or this? Moment of truth. Whoa, its own method actually wins. This presides over this, even though they are sharing the same name. So how can you take care of this kind of problem if you actually want to make use of this functionality, but it actually has the same name with the other method in the subclass? Well, you could simply create a new function and name the function, say hi to, for example. Then within the actions to be performed by the function, simply say parent. Yes, this is a very interesting keyword. Now when you say this, the subclass knows to look to the superclass for something. So parent, then the double colon, and then this will follow by the name of the method, say hi, in this instance. So fair enough. At this point, what we simply need to do is call say hi to, because say hi to now has access to the method in the superclass. So if I save this and refresh this, we get hi world. So this is simply how to take care of this kind of problems when the subclass and the superclass has a method that uses the same name. There comes another problem when you actually have constructors in both the subclass and the superclass. Which one will execute? Which one will supersede the other? Remember, constructors initializes all properties and variables we want to within our program. So whether you like it or not, immediately you instantiate the class, the constructor will execute immediately. So take a look at this test class 1 and test class 2. Which of their constructors is going to execute over the other? This program has been saved. So if I refresh this, you notice that test class 2 constructor took the higher precedence once again. So how can you take care of this? You can simply come to the test class 2 constructor if you really want the test class 1 constructor to also execute itself. Once again, you say parent, you call it parent, and then the double colon followed by this, and that's all. So once you save this and you refresh this, you notice that both test class 1 constructor and test class 2 constructor is executed. That is how to take care of that problem. So one last thing is this: if you want to ensure that the superclass is never overridden by the subclass, any function you create, make sure you declare it as final. That's all. So in this case, if we say use class point to the say hi method, for example, let me just clean up this, and you save this and you refresh this, you get a fatal error. Why? We have declared this function as final. So anywhere it is found in the subclass, it ensures that it never overrides this function. So you get a fatal error. So that is one way you want to, or you might want to handle that. This is the much you can take for inheritance, and this is the much you can take for object-oriented programming in PHP. In the very next video, we'll be discussing about arrays in PHP. See you in the next video, and thank you for watching thus far.